Greetings, travelers, and welcome to another Tempo Storm Wild Meta video, where we showcase decks and strategies you can use to become legendary on the Hearthstone Wild Ladder. In this video, by popular demand, we'll be breaking down how to take on Big Priest, the controversial wild meta staple that everyone loves to hate. Playing against a Big Priest can feel hopeless at times, but in this video, we'll give you a breakdown of this deck and its weaknesses, as well as show you how to improve your win rate against this notorious deck. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel in order to keep up to speed with the rest of our Hearthstone content. Now let's jump right in. Before we get started with looking how to beat Big Priest, let's talk about how it works. If you're not familiar with the deck, Big Priest revolves around playing some of the biggest minions in Hearthstone, such as Yasharaj, Rage Unbound, Ragnaros the Fire Lord, the Lich King, and Obsidian Statue. Instead of playing them from hand, they use Barns and Shadow Essence to get these minions on the board early, and then revival effects, such as Resurrect and Eternal Servitude, to bring them back to the board over and over again. When they're not resurrecting big minions, they're controlling the board with a wide range of priest removal cards in order to buy time. Even if you can survive against the waves of removal and smaller resurrections, eventually Big Priest will close out the game with a large-scale revival from Diamond Spellstone or Mass Resurrection. For Big Priest, the deck's key turns are turn 4, when it can summon Barns to get the show going early, turn 5, when it can start to play mass removal like Mass Hysteria or Excavated Evil, turn 6 when it can play Shadow Essence, and turn 7 for Psychic Scream. Before those turns, the priest is going to play small removal spells, use Shadow Visions, or heal with their hero power. If you look at the breakdown of these key turns, it can seem like Big Priest takes some time to get up and running. The earliest a Big Priest can make any proactive play is the dreaded Barns on curve. While it is true that Barns is a huge play, the Big Priest only has a 33% chance to have it by turn 4 when going first, and 40 going second. The rest of the time, they're going to have a passive playstyle, with the first real threat arriving on turn 6. Now that we know what makes Big Priest work, let's take a look at its weaknesses. 1. They have a passive early game. 2. Because of the high cost of their cards and the setup required, they rarely play multiple cards in a turn. Number 3, they are heavily reliant on spell-based removal to stay alive before they can use their resurrect spells. And 4, the overall win condition takes time to finish the opponent off. If you're a wild ladder player and you've had to face one Barns too many, how do you exploit these weaknesses? Here are some angles of attack that you can take. Wild has a variety of aggro decks that can be tuned to beat Big Priest early and consistently. Aim to deal damage with minions quickly, and then when the priest clears the board, finish him off with burst damage from hand. Kingsbane Rogue has a blistering fast early game with the Pyro package, and its long-term burst damage with its big namesake weapon. Odd Paladin's relentless waves of tokens can be easily buffed to dodge removal, and has burst through weapons, and Leroy Jenkins. Mech Hunter makes a small mechanical army and uses magnetic buffs and Metal Tooth Leaper to rack up damage. Tempo Mage protects early threats like Mad Scientist and Kirin Tor Mage with secrets to stifle the priest's development, and finishes off with Burn. When you have a powerful board leading into Shadow Essence and Psychic Scream key turns, a timely Loatheb will shut off the priest's counterplay to seal the deal. While all these decks are different, they can all consistently abuse Big Priest's weak early game. Big Priest can't play defense forever. Sooner or later, they have to start playing threats. You can neutralize those threats by playing removal that doesn't kill the minion to put it in the resurrection pool. Effects like Polymorph, Hex, Devolve, and Sap cut off the resurrect engine at the knees, keep Big Priest off the board. Transformation effects also give the Big Priest the chance to revive the wrong minions, which can lose them a game on its own. You can also use silences to ignore the Big Priest's taunt minions and continue to push face. Always keep in mind, Big Priest can't play cheap resurrection cards if none of their big minions are dead. If you're not interested in playing for board, there's also a variety of combo decks that take advantage of Big Priest's slow pace. Exodia Mage's fast draw engine and endless freezes keep Big Priest at bay easily in order to draw its combo to deal infinite damage. Mecha'thun Warlock's game plan is similar, delaying the game with Void Lord and Warlock removal cards to buy time till the priest's inevitable doom. Mind Blast Priest applies minion pressure while drawing into its Mind Blast damage combos. The Togwaggle Druid's plan may be the most satisfying of all, drawing its deck quickly in order to steal the Big Priest's deck and play their threats against them. It's no secret that long game control strategies such as Reno Lock and Odd Warrior can struggle with the endless enormity of Big Priest threats. If you're not applying pressure or threatening a combo and you insist on playing for fatigue on ladder, you have to plan your removal strategically. Whenever possible, use your more specific removal options first, or use minions to trade away their earlier threats in order to save hard removal for tricky situations. As mentioned before, transformation effects can go a long way towards stifling their development to buy you time to get your own threats online. If you're playing a Reno deck, look for Mystic Wool options with Kazakus, and use Bran Bronzebeard and Zola the Gorgon to obtain additional potions whenever possible. Reserve mass removal such as Brawl and Twisting Nether for their large-scale resurrects, and always keep account of how many of those effects remain in the Priest's deck, counting additional copies possible with Shadow Visions. With enough planning and luck, you may be able to outlast the onslaught and fight back against Barnes and his horde. Big Priest is intimidating, but you can exploit its slow and linear game plan by applying proactive pressure, using transform effects to slow them down further, using an OTK combo, or planning around the Priest's threats to be able to answer them. With these tips in mind, you're sure to improve your success on ladder against one of the biggest decks in Wild. We hope that you enjoyed this look into tackling Big Priest. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like the video and let us know what deck you'd like us to cover next. Make sure to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel for more Hearthstone content. See you next time.